The ETL is an abbreviation of extract, load and transform. As a sequence of conversation in the form of sequential packets, you are going to acquire the data. Capture technology is used, which uses the specialized network monitoring softwares. The Internet of Things makes an endless supply of the information. Hello students, welcome to the next session of Cloud Computing and Big Data Analytics. Let's start this session with something about the ETL and ELT. What is ELT or what is ETL? The ETL is an abbreviation of extract, load and transform. Okay, ELT or ETL. What is the difference? Let's talk later. It is the extract, transform and load. In this process of ETL or ELT, we use an ETL tool, whatever it is, ETL tool, ELT tool, which extracts the data from where? From different RDBMS source. We need to transform, load and process the data. That is the step that will be taken in the big data. What does the ETL tool will do is, it will extract the data from different RDBMS sources. After extracting, it then transforms the data to which format which is comfortable or which is needed, like for calculation, for concatenation, for any other operation. It is going to transform to a suitable format and then load the data into the data warehouse system. When you transform it to a particular format, then load it to a data warehouse for the future use. In ETL, data flows from the source to the target. It will always be flow from source to the target. In a ETL process, the transformation engine, there will be tool which transforms the data to a particular form, takes care of any data change. So any data changes, transformations will be taken by the ETL transformation engine. Here we have the diagrammatic representation of the ETL tool. Here we have the source. These are the files. We will have the transformation engine which sits in between the files. These files will be segregated, will be made a group and is sent to the target. It will be loaded to the data warehouse. Extract, transform and load. This is ETL. If you check with what is ELT, ELT is reverse of that, or it changes the order. Okay. ETL is a different method of looking at the tool approach of the data movement. How does the data is going to move in the ETL tool? Okay. Instead of transforming the data, we need to transform it. Instead of transforming the data, before it is returned to the warehouse, ETL lets the target system, we have a target system, ETL lets the target system to do the transformation. Okay, here before loading, the transformation is done in ETL, whereas it is first loaded before the transformation is done. Here extract, load and then transform. Previously it is extract, transform and then load. Okay, the data copied to the target is transformed in the later stage. Transformation is the last stage. The ELT usually used with no SQL databases, where you don't use any SQL server like Hadoop cluster. You don't have any database in this. We use the Hadoop for this, for storing and transforming. And for cloud installation, we use the NoSQL database applications like Hadoop for data appliance or cloud installation. Let's have a diagrammatic representation of this. When you observe, we have the same source, same set of file. In ETL, it was transformation, then loading. But in ELT, first it is loading to the target. Files are first loaded to the target. Then the data will be transformed within the target. So this is extract, load and target, ELT. That is ELT and ETL. Okay, what is the difference between ELT and ETL is that regardless of whether it is ETL or ELT, the data transformation or integration process involve 3 steps. That is the 3 main steps. First thing is extracting. The extraction refers to pulling or getting the source data from the database. Okay, from original database or any data source you can take. With ETL, the data goes into a temporary staging area. There will be temporary registers that will be used to store the extracted data temporarily before it is transformed or before it is led to the next stage. With ELT, when you have extract, load and transform, it goes immediately into the target or data lake storage system. It is directly loaded, not transformed. When it is ETL, the data is stored temporarily in a register. In ELT, the data is directly loaded into the data lake storage system or the target. Okay. Apart from that, we have the next step, that is transformation. Transform. Okay. The transformation refers to the process of changing the structure of the information. It is maybe structured, maybe unstructured. If it is structured, you may keep it as it is or make a minimum transformation. If the data is unstructured, you will structure the information so it integrates with. So you can integrate it with target data system. You can transform the data according to the target data system and rest of the data will remain as it is. To compile with the other data in the system, already in the system, the new data will be transformed to come to a uniform format. This is called as the transform. The next last step is load in ETL. Transform is the last step in ELT. Load is the process of depositing. You are depositing. What you are depositing? The information into the data warehouse or data storage system. So you are loading the data into the data storage system. Here we have the diagrammatic representation of the ETL and the ELT. Data is moving through this transformation channel. The data is transformed. This is unstructured. This will made into structure and is stored in the data warehouse or in the target. In ELT, data is moved as it is into the data lake or the target. After that, it will be transformed. Okay. The next thing is to know more about the difference between ELT and ETL. Okay. ETL is the extract, transform and load process for the data. Okay. Whereas ELT is reverse, extract, load and transform process of the data. In ETL, the data moves from the data source to staging into the data warehouse. Staging is transforming. Data stores to staging or temporary register and then to the data warehouse. In ELT, the data warehouse will store the data, then will perform the basic transformation. There is no need for data staging. Directly it is stored in the data warehouse and then transformation algorithm is applied. All right. Apart from that, ETL can help. Why it can help? With data privacy. Since it transforms and load, it can have data privacy and compliance by cleaning. Before storing it to the data warehouse, the data are cleaned. Unnecessary data is thrown away and the data is secured before storing it into the data warehouse. Whereas the ELT is reverse. We are not concentrating on the privacy. Instead, we are just loading as it is into the data warehouse. Then we are applying the transformation algorithm. The ETL can perform sophisticated data transformation. It is following standard transformation algorithm and can be more cost effective than ELT. It is more cheaper than the process of ELT. Okay, so these are the some of the differences that you can list out in ELT as well as ETL. Let's go to the next concept, that is the storage infrastructure requirements. What are the storage infrastructure requirements are telling? Okay, so what are the main things you need to concentrate on the storage infrastructure? In big data, storage is the main thing, right? Because of the enormous quantities of data, as you know, there is large volume of data which are involved in the big data transformation. Okay, big data computing solutions as well. The solution must incorporate a strong infrastructure. You need to have a strong infrastructure which helps in storage, processing as well as networking. It must assist in all the tasks of storing, processing as well as networking. Okay, let's see what are the storage requirements of the big data analytics. Okay, the first thing is storage. How do you store? The organization are needed to invest in storage solutions. You need big data centers, big data servers to store this huge amount of data that are optimized or that are mainly useful only for storing the big data. Okay, the flashed storage is especially attractive. We use a flash storage which is attractive due to its performance advantages. It is more robust and is reliable when it comes to the storage of the big data. And it ensures the high availability of the big data. Another smart option is clustered network attached storage. Cluster network attached storage. We will be having group of network attached storage data centers. Okay. While cloud is also an option, we can store the big data in cloud, but large organizations find that the expense of constantly transporting data to and from the cloud. What is the main drawback of using the cloud is you have to frequently transport the data to the cloud and from the cloud. Makes this option less cost effective. It incurs more cost as well as take more times rather than on-premise or in environment storage. Okay, so we refer to the storage requirement as we need a strong and robust storage facility for big data storage. Next we have the processing. What does the processing will do? The servers intended for big data analytics must have adequate processing power. You need to have high processing power. Currently, the top choice for processors is Intel Skylake. when you have large volume of data, you need to have large processing capable systems also, isn't it? You need to have a very strong processing capability. It needs the adequate processing power, high power processors you need to process those big data in a lesser time, isn't it? So the only choice, or most of the big data providers are using the processors Intel Skylake. Okay. The next thing or requirement is the analytics software. The choice of big data analytics software should be based on which software you will choose for analysis is based on not only on what functions the software can perform, what the software can do, but also data security and ease of use. So before choosing a software, you have to decide what is the performance capability of a software along with how much security it can provide over the big data. The next requirement is the networking. Networking, the massive quantities of information that must go back and back. That means you need to have a stronger networking capability. It requires a robust networking hardware. Why do you need this robust networking hardware is, so big data, as you know, it is bigger in volume and it needs a stronger network and speedier network to transport the data from the source to the destination, or for processing. For anything, you need a strong network foundation. Okay, the capacity for secure network transports is an essential component of the big data infrastructure. You need to have a strong networking hardware as well as networking software. Therefore, the capacity of the secure network and the transports is an essential part of the storage infrastructure. Okay. Along with that, you need the support. Support of what? In addition to hardware expense or expertise and software integration expertise, along with hardware and software expertise integration, you need a networking Nortech needs to have, or a organization with big data has to have a big data analytics expertise. You need to have the expertise in to support the deployment, operation and maintenance of the big data. Okay. We need a strong support from the expertise in each area of the big data. So the organization must handle the obstacles that occurs in case of the big data analysis. These solutions will include the remote visualization, storage guard, or we need the SATM, that is the system ambient temperature monitor, to monitor the temperature, because data center which stores the big data must maintain the optimal temperature. If it becomes too hot, it may corrupt the softwares as well as the hardwares and may lose all the data that is stored. So you need to have the softwares of remote visualization, controlling from the remote place, storage guard, security for the storage, system ambient temperature monitor to monitor the temperature of the data centers, metal backup, that is the magnetic tape and magnetic disk backups to store the data, remote monitoring, remote visualization and remote monitoring, and a proper management to store and process the big data. There is an open on-demand plus Bright Cluster Manager applications for maintaining the status quo of the data center which has stored the big data. Next thing is to know about a concept known as log file. What is the concept behind log file? Why do we need log files? Okay. Now, let's start the concept. A log file is a computer-generated data file that contains information about the usage patterns. Log file is like a directory, a telephone directory, which stores the information about the usage patterns, the activities, and operations within an operating system, within the system, application, server, or another device, whatever it is happening. The storage of all the tasks or all the transactions that is happening in a big data environment will be stored in a log file, which is a computer generated data file. It stores the information about all the transactions in the big data environment. Okay. The IT organization which uses the big data can implement security event monitoring softwares, the security information management software, security information and event management software, or other analytics tool to aggregate and analyze the log files from throughout a cloud computing environment. Okay, if you are using the big data in a cloud computing environment, these log files are used by these many applications or analytical tools, namely the security event monitoring, security information management, security information and event management. These are the analytics tools that aggregate and analyze the log files. Okay, so log files is nothing but the document which stores the transaction in the big data. Okay, let's talk about the sensors that are used in the big data. You know about the various kinds of sensors that we use. Let's see what are the different sensors that can be used in a big data. Okay, what is a sensor? You know about the sensors, isn't it? Everything. Now today, most of the devices are connected through the IoT. How does IoT is enabling is through the help of various types of sensors. Okay, sensor is a device. It is a device that detects the change in the environment. It detects change that is happening around it and responds to some output on the other system. If there is any change, if there is any effect that is happening in the environment where the sensor is fixed, so that will be given by the sensor, that will be stored by the sensor. Along with that, it is going to respond to the output. Okay, respond to some output on the other system. You may have observed in malls or in offices, there will be a mat. When you put your step on the mat, the door is going to be opened automatically, isn't it? You need not to do anything with the door. You need not to push or pull. Whenever you put your step on the mat, when you put your step on the mat, the door is going to be opened. How it is going to open it? With the help of the sensor. There will be a sensor which senses your pressure or pressure of the foot on the mat on that sensor and responds by opening the doors of the building. Okay, so this is an example of a sensor. With a sensor, a machine observes the environment and the information can be collected. It observes the environment and collects the information that is happening around the sensor. A sensor measures a physical quantity. Okay, it weighs it. The example I have given, door, it observes the weight of the material that is put on the sensor. If there is not enough weight, the door is not going to be opened. Only when enough weight is put on the sensor, then only the door is going to open, right? So it has to observe the environment and collects or stores the information. A sensor measures the physical quantity and converts it into a signal like temperature sensors. Sensors translate the measurements. It will transform or translate the measurement from the real world, from the representation of real world into the data for the digital domain. According to the digital format, the information is going to be transformed by the sensors. Okay. The sensors are most widely used in the Internet of Things or IoT are equipped with the sensors. Usually most of the IoT devices or Internet on Things devices uses the sensors. With these sensors, using these sensors, the device will collect the data, not only responds, it collects the data about the way they are used and about the environment around them. That is, how the sensors can be used and what are the changes that are happening in the environment around the sensor. Everything will be stored by the sensor in the memory. Okay. The collected data can be as simple as a measurement of the temperature. Example is given here. It may be as simple as collecting or storing the temperature of the day in that environment. If you set a sensor in the outside, it senses the temperature around it. Or as complex as complete video feed. Every changes will be observed and is captured by the sensors. Okay, so there may be wireless sensors or wired sensors. Okay, the Internet of Things makes an endless supply of the information. It makes an endless supply of information which is available that was not available previously. Sensor makes new data to be stored in the data warehouse. Okay, and if sensor data was already present, if the data which sensor has collected is already present in the server, it was difficult to analyze. It will be difficult to analyze because it came from all sorts of separate devices. You may have other devices which stores these data as well. In such a case, processing the sensor data and transforming it to a digital form will be a little bit difficult task. With the Internet of Things, we record continuous measurement. What we record is the continuous measurement of various sensors. The IoT has to record continuously the changes that is or the data that is stored by the sensors, which we can easily read out. The sensor, whenever it is on or 24/7, it is going to collect the information about the changes happening its around environment. This allows us to recognize the trends and make the predictions. To recognize the trend or recognize what is happening in the environment and make the predictions like weather forecasting. There will be sensors around the area which gives the information to the weather department. Using that data provided by the sensors, the expertise are going to make the predictions about the temperature, the humidity, is there, what is the climate, like whether it is cloudy, whether it is sunny, whether it is rainy. So these predictions can be done based on the collected data. Okay, so we will be having the collection of the data through the sensors. Okay, there are more and more devices we are collecting or we are incorporating, implementing more and more devices that collect, store and exchange the data. They collect, store as well as they exchange the data. Along with this, along with the sensor data, the consumers organizations, governments and companies themselves produce more and more data. Along with sensor data, all other data are also included as a big data, like that of a social media. We include both the sensor generated data as well as other data. The amount of data that is stored in a big data is growing exponentially, not increasing, it is growing exponentially. Okay. The people speak of big data. When do you need big data is when they work with one or more databases. What kind of databases are? That are too large to be maintained with the regular DBMS. So, whenever there is a data which is beyond the control of the normal database system, the people or the organization will eventually go for the big data analytics. Okay. Here the sensors is talking about the big data. How does big data uses the sensor data is? Big data is all about realizing the added value from the processing and analysis of data. Big data is all about storing the data and analyzing it. Characteristic of the big data is that it not only stores the structured data, along with it, it stores the unstructured, varied data from different types of sources. It takes the data from different sources that are processed in a real time. We need to process the data in a real time, not in a environment which is not real. You need to process this data in the real-time environment. Next thing is, big data is playing an increasingly large role in collecting the data that contain various kinds of information like as marketing, scientific research or the other kinds of data. It is going to handle all the kinds of data. In order to actually use the increasing amount of data to handle these data, a good and smart analysis of the data is a needed one. You need specific software or specific tool to handle these big data. Okay, so the big data analysis is the process of researching the big data, that is processing the big data to discover the hidden patterns which are not known to us, unknown correlations, the relationship between two hidden data, the market trends, what does the customer is feeling, customer preference, what they want, what they are in demand for, and other useful information can be collected with the help of the sensors to make or to take a better informed decision. We make use of not only the big data, along with that we analyze the big data using different analysis algorithms. Okay. We have the list of sensors that can be used and they can store the big data as well, maybe in cloud or maybe in premise or on-premises servers. Okay. We have the temperature sensors which stores the temperature. We have the humidity sensors which stores the humidity. We have the pressure sensors, that is like opening the door. Those are the pressure sensors. Proximity sensors to get the distance, like we'll have a car. In car, we'll have a proximity sensor which beeps when the vehicle moves to the other obstacle. If there is an obstacle within this limit, there will be a beep sound which will be generated in advanced cars. That will be the proximity sensor. Then we have level sensors, like we incorporate that in the water level, finding out the water level in dams or in normal water tanks to avoid the overflow of the water. Then accelerometers To find out the speed of the vehicle, we have the accelerometers. They are also sensors which sense the rotation of the wheels. Gyroscope. Then we have the gas sensors which detect the release of the gas in a closed chamber. Like we have the sensors which sense when there is a fire in the location, fire in a closed room. So that will be the gas sensors. Then we have infrared sensors getting the which is used in usually in forensic science. The optical sensors getting the optical signals. Then IoT related sensors. We have lot many sensors that collect the data from the surrounding environment of the sensors. All right. Next is to know about the methods of acquiring the network data. We use certain softwares that are used in the acquisition of the data. One thing is the libcap based and zero copy packet capture technology is used, which uses the specialized network monitoring softwares. So they use the specialized network monitoring softwares like Wireshark, SmartSniff and VinetCap. These are some of the softwares that are used for collecting the data from the network, not from the local server. From the network, the data can be collected by the Wireshark software, SmartSniff software and VinetCap. These are the mobile equipments that we usually use to acquire the. We shall look at one of the software that can be used in a method of acquiring the network kind of data. The thing is, SmartSniff is a network monitoring utility that allows you to capture the packets. The TCP/IP packets will be captured by the SmartSniff that pass through your network adapter. You are going to pass it through the network adapter and view the captured data. You can store the captured data as sequence of conversations. You are going to acquire the data packets, TCP/IP data packets, to capture as a sequence of conversation in the form of sequential packets. You are going to acquire the data which would have happened between the clients and the servers. Okay, you can view the TCP/IP conversation in an ASCII mode. You can view this conversation, which will help. The SmartSniff will help in collecting the TCP/IP packets for the data collection in the big data which are passed over a network. The SmartSniff usually provides three methods for capturing the packets. One is in a kind of raw packets without any transformations. Then WinPCap capture driver. There is another file which captures the TCP/IP packets. Microsoft Network Monitoring Driver. With the help of the drivers also, you can collect the data. And the last method is Microsoft Network Monitoring Driver, the new version of the monitoring driver, that is Monitor Driver 3. All these things, all three methods can be used to acquire the data from the network, which can act as a big data. All right, this is all about the big data storage. Thank you.